Hello, today we are going to see how to design a shopping cart. Now, this session is in continuation to the series of sessions that we are having with respect to building a e-commerce application. Now, we have seen how to create a search tab where we have the option for the user to search, and from that search page they can add items to cart. Now, this is the cart fragment where the user will be able to see the items that they have added. Now, if you can see, look at the layout, this is a relative layout, and on the top we have a bar. Now this bar is nothing but the summary bar for the cart. So we are showing the number of items in the cart, the shipping cost if any, and the total value of the cart. And we also have a button here which takes you to the checkout page where the user will be able to add the address, the payment information, and submit the order. Now below is this space is where the items will be displayed, the different items that the user has added. Now this is nothing but a list view. So if we have a look at the code, so as I mentioned to you, it's a linear layout, and then within that it's a relative layout, and we have the different elements with respect to the item, the text, the item count, the shipping, the text that we are displaying, which is nothing but shipping colon, and then shipping amount, and then the total amount and the checkout button. Now there is one more thing that we have put here, which I have just commented out, but I will uncomment it now. So you notice that here, when there are no items in the cart, what will you show here? So we need to display that no items in cart or your cart is empty, some kind of a message like that, so that the user does not get confused. And we also need to hide these elements because these are not relevant if there are no items in the cart. So what we have done is that we have another element here. It's a text view. If I just uncomment, you will see that this is a text view which also overlaps the same space. So what we are going to do programmatically is, in the fragment, we will check if the number of items in the cart is more than 0 or not. If it is more than 0, then this cart is empty. This particular text view will make it invisible. If it is equal to 0, that is the cart is empty, then we will make all of these as invisible, and we will just make this cart is empty as visible. So this we are going to handle programmatically. So moving to the next, XML. Now, as you know that the list view also needs us to define how the layout of each of these rows are going to look like. So this is the XML for that. So we have the product description, we have the different parameters, we have the total amount which is here, and we have also the savings amount which is here, and we have a delete button here. Now this quantity here, it's a spinner item, so you can actually select quantity from 1 to 10, and based on what you select here, this value here will also change, and the savings amount will also change. Now for a spinner item also similarly, we have to define how the drop down is going to look like and how each row is going to look like within the spinner item. So for that we have created another XML called spinner underscore item and XML, and this is where we have defined how each row within the spinner item is going to look like. Now once these three XMLs are done, let's move to the code for my cart. Now to start off, we have defined the different variables which are there, which are required by us. Now one of the most important things is this array list of type product. Now product is a custom object that we have defined, and this custom object has all the different parameters of a particular product. So if I can show you this, this is how the custom object looks like. It has a product name, product code, barcode, department, division, all these various information related to a particular product is stored in this custom object. So we are creating an array list of this custom object, which is called cart list, and this is where we will populate all the items which are there in the cart, and this is what will act as a array adapter for the list view while population. Now moving to the onCreate method, there is nothing there. We are just calling the super onCreate method. The next thing that we are doing is in the onCreate view, we are inflating the primary layout, which is a fragment underscore my cart, and we are mapping it to my fragment view. and then we are calling this particular function called get cart data. Now don't bother too much about the code. The code is available on my website semicolon.blogspot.in. The link is available in the description of the video, so you can get the complete source code there. Moving on, this get cart data is pulling the information from the cart table in the database, and then it is populating the cart underscore list array list. So after this method is executed, the cart underscore list is populated with all the items which are there in the database. Now here what we are doing is we are just taking a count of the number of items which are there in the cart, and total cart value we have just initialized to 0, and then we are just going through the cart list one item at a time, and we are just finding out the total cart value using this for loop. Moving on, what we are doing is we are mapping all the different elements of the layout to the variables, the local variables, and also we have defined a typeface of font which is a book.ttf. Now if you can see here, we have defined all the different elements: item text, item count, shipping text, shipping amount, total amount, checkout, which is a button, then the list view, and then the cart empty. Now cart empty is the text which will appear if the cart is empty. Now this is the part of the code that I was referring to earlier. Here we are determining if the total count of items in the cart is 0. If it is 0, we are making everything invisible, only the cart empty as visible. Otherwise, we are just doing the opposite. Now this is a logic which we have put in place to find out the shipping amount. Now the logic is that if the total amount is more than 500, then the shipping amount is free. Otherwise, we are charging 50 rupees. So it's just a logic to implement that. And also here we are just defining the typeface for each of these elements as the type, which is nothing but defining the font of each of these elements to book.ttf. Now this is where we call the custom adapter for the list view, and after that we have called the on click listener, which is a custom on click listener for the checkout button. Now that's about it. Now moving to the list adapter, which is custom list one. This is an extension of the base adapter. Now here we have just we have a constructor method here where we are taking the parameters which have been passed and we are mapping it to the local variables. Now as you can see here in the list adapter, we have actually in the custom list one, which is the adapter, we have passed the cart list. So we have received the cart list here, which is the array list, and now here we have defined this locally, and we are mapping it here to the local cart list. And the get count for the list adapter is nothing but the cart counter. Now the cart counter is nothing but the cart list dot size. Now in the get item method, we have defined it as cart list dot get with the argument number, which is the position of the element that is currently to be displayed, and the get item ID is nothing but the position ID. And moving on to the get view, here the first thing that we are doing is based on the position, we are taking the details from the cart list and we are mapping it to a local object called temp product, which is of type product. And this is the part of the code which I have explained in a previous session as well. What we do is that we have created a view holder and we are inflating and mapping all the variables which are there in the XMLs to this view holder. Now the first time that this particular row gets inflated, this convert view is going to be null, so this part of the code will get executed and the view holder will get the mapping of all these variables, and the inflate of the list one custom will also happen, and then we will have a convert view.set tag of holder. For the next time onwards, when this row will get inflated, we don't need to go through the same code again, we don't need to inflate it again. We can just get the tag from the convert view and pass it on to holder, and then we can continue. Now this is being done to improve the performance and to reduce the time taken to scroll the list view. Even if you don't do this, this is not going to hamper much, but this is a good practice to follow. Now the next set of things that we are going to do is to move the product name, the product MRP, and all the other details which have come from the cart list and move them to the respective variables on the screen. And so here we have defined the array adapter for the quantity spinner, and this is the XML that we have mapped, which defines the layout of the drop down rows of the quantity spinner. So I think the name is wrong, so let me just change it out. And then this is the quantity values, which is nothing but the values which will come in the drop down. We've already defined it at the top, and it's an array list which contains 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So the drop down will have all these values, and we are then setting this array adapter as the adapter for the quantity spinner. And then also what we are doing is we are setting the quantity which would come to what is there in the get quantity method. Now if you look at it, why we are doing a -1 is because this requires the position. We need to set the position for which the selection should happen. So now if the quantity is 1 but the position on this array is actually 0, it is a 0th position, right? Because it's the first element. So that is why we are doing a -1. So if it is 2, the position is 1. So we are doing a -1 to set the selection of the quantity to that particular value. So all the items, whatever is the quantity which is there in the database, will come pre-selected in the spinner using this statement. Now we are doing the same thing for all the other columns, and let's move on to the relevant piece of the code. Now this is where we are setting a on-click listener for the cancel button. Now we are going to now see what this on-click listener will do, and also we are doing a on item selected listener for the quantity spinner. So this we will have a look at it after some time, but let's look at the quantity spinner first. Now on item selected, which is if the item is selected or if any particular item is selected in the drop down, this method will get called, and this is the index which will tell you which particular value has been selected. So based on that, the first thing that we are doing is that we are checking if the value which was there previously is different from the value which has been selected by the user. Now this means that the user has actually changed the quantity of that item in the cart. So if only if the user has changed, then only this part of the code will get executed. What we are doing is obviously we are updating the database to change the quantity, and then we are notifying the data change so that the list view can get refreshed. And also we are refreshing the data which is there outside the list view. So if you look at this part of the data, this is outside the list view, because if you change the quantity, then everything gets changed, right? Because your value here will get changed, your savings value will get changed, and your total cart value will also get changed. So this is what we are getting executed here. So using this, we are getting the view mapping of the parent fragment, and from there we are again defining the text views, which is total transaction amount or total amount, total number of items, and shipping amount. And again we are executing the same set of code wherein we are checking for the cart list size. This is the total number of items, so it is possible that the item list might have also changed. And then we are doing the recalculation for the total cart amount, and based on that we are also populating the total shipping amount, and this will refresh these values on the top. Okay, now moving on. Now this is the my personal click listener. This is the click listener for the cancel button. So you remember that there is a cancel or a delete button available here, which is going to delete this particular item from the cart. So this is the listener for that delete button. Now this is the constructor method, and in the on click, what we are doing is we are checking if the button which has been pressed is button underscore delete, and if that be the case, then we are going ahead. First we are doing is we are just going ahead and deleting this particular item. This is the product name which has come, so we are taking the product name and we are deleting this from the cart. We are deleting this product code from the cart. Now product name is nothing but the all the information of the product which has been sent from the calling function. Now once this has been done, what we are doing is we are doing the get cart data, which will basically refresh the cart list again by getting all the details from the database. And what we are doing is we are calling the list view adapter again so that the list view gets refreshed, because now as you can see that if one row gets eliminated in this particular place, then the list view should get refreshed. And then we are calling the list view so that with a set adapter so that the list view gets refreshed. So the rest of the code deals with updating the summary part of the card, wherein we are going to again do the mapping for all these elements which are there on the top, and then execute the same details with respect to calculating the total cart item count, and then total cart value and the shipping value, total shipping amount, which is here. And once these are done, we are again doing the check whether this item count is 0 or not. If it is not 0, then we are keeping all the elements visible and hiding this particular cart empty statement. Otherwise, we are hiding all of these and keeping only cart empty as visible. Now, why we are putting this piece of code again here? The reason is that it is quite possible that if there are say 3 items in the cart, the user presses the delete button for all the 3 items, in which case the cart becomes empty. So now it should also update accordingly. So the summary should get hidden and cart is empty should get displayed. Now coming back to the code, this is the my checkout click listener. So this is the listener for the checkout button, which is here. So if you press this, this will take you to the checkout activity. Now here, this is the constructor method where we have just taken the button name as the button name as a parameter, and in the on click view we have just checked if the button name is button underscore checkout. So here we have just created the intent to call the checkout class, which is nothing but the activity to handle the checkout process, and then we are calling the start activity there. Now moving to the get cart.data, this is, as I was mentioning earlier, the method which populates the data into the cart list. So every time this gets called, we clear the cart list and we read the cart table in the database and move all the elements or all the available products one by one into cart list. So let's now go ahead and run this project. If I have a look at the replicator, so this is a software which is replicating my mobile screen. So the application has already opened up. As you can see that there are 3 tabs here: the search tab, the cart, and the quick order. Now in quick order we have not yet put any code, so let's go back to search. Now here I'm going to search and I'm going to add some items into the cart. So the first item that I'm going to add is this Kellogg. Then I'm going to add another item called Horlicks. So now right now there are 2 items. Now say for example I have already pressed the add button, the add to cart button, which is here once. Now if I add it once more, now the quantity should become 2 in the cart. Okay, so now we are going to go and have a look in the cart. So as you can see that both the items are available in the cart. Now this is the Horlicks item and this is the Kellogg's item, both are available. Now you remember that I had pressed the Horlicks button add to cart twice, so the quantity here is 2 and this is the savings that is coming and the total value, and the sum of all this is coming here, and because the sum of these two is less than 500, so they have added a 50 to the cart as a shipping amount. Now I can change this quantity to anything, so let's assume that I change it to 3. So you will see that this got revised and this also, the savings amount also got revised, and now because the amount of the sum of these two have become more than 500, you see that the shipping has become free and this no longer has any shipping fee. The number of items in the cart is also 2, which remains the same. Now I can again change it back to 1, and the view again refreshes itself, and you see that the amount has come down to 142, and again the total cart amount has also changed. Now what we will do is we will delete one of these items. So let's assume that I delete the log item by pressing this. So it gives me a toast message saying that log has been deleted from cart. And as you can see that the list view has refreshed itself, and so has the elements on the top. So 350 plus 50 is 400. Number of items have also become 1. Now if I again delete this Horlicks item, what will happen is the cart will become empty. So here all this should get hidden and cart is empty should get displayed. So let's go and check it out if that happens. Yeah, so as you can see, once I have deleted the Horlicks item, the this cart has become empty, and all the other elements have got hidden. Hope you found this session informative. If you liked it, please do not forget to press the like button and also to subscribe to this channel, because we are going to continue and go on with the other sessions with respect to building this complete application. There is a complete playlist with all the videos of each of the tabs, like the search tab and each of the functionalities. So do go ahead and watch them. Thank you.